Hello and welcome back to the channel. Now you're joining today, hopefully this will be a nice quick one. Got this little Yamaha YZF R125 with a running fault. Now I'm not actually 100% sure what's wrong with this one yet, but hopefully it'll be an easy one. First thing we're going to do, let's get it fired up, see what's going on with it. Okay, well, fires up easy enough. Sounding a little bit like a misfire to me. Let's let it warm up a little bit, see what happens. Not quite idling as smooth as it should be. It's starting to hesitate now when you open the throttle. There we go. That scrag clutch sounds terrible. No warning lights up on the dashboard. So it's actually quite a weird one. It runs okay-ish, but it seems to get worse as it gets warmer. So I think I'm going to start with the simple first. We'll just whip this side panel off. We'll get to that spark plug, whip the plug out, do a compression test while we're there, then maybe just try a new plug and go from there. But I am going to say that sprag clutch sounds terrible. Right, so these things are pretty easy to work on. Literally just need Allen key set and a couple of bolts here. I mean, in the case of this bike, a couple of bolts on a cable tie. And then that side panel should just pop straight off. Just like that. Just get the limit up. You can see you can just about get to the spark plug just through there. So pull that cap off like that. There we go. Get the spark plug tool on there. Stubborn little bugger. Like I say, it's a bit tight getting there. You persevere with it. You can get it out through that hole. I mean, I'm going to have to take this whole upper panel off as well. Just so I can get the compression tester in there a bit easier. Make sure I get a decent reading on that then. Be silly not to do a compression test really. Into it this far. Plug's coming out anyway. So what's the harm? There we go. Focus, you bastard. There we go. You can see it's pretty sooty, but I wouldn't say it's knackered. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. Let's get this panel off. So if you're doing this for yourself, change the spark plug out. If you are struggling through that same hole I was just doing, if you take that upper panel off as well, it just gives you so much more space to get in there. Just depends how patient you are, I suppose. Okay, now this is what your typical compression tester looks like. Now this is only a cheapy one. I wouldn't take the readout as gospel, but it's enough to give me an idea of what's going on inside of there. So the way you use these is this one anyway. You can get different ones with a screw-on end. This one's just a push-on. So you need to get that over the spark plug hole, and you have to push down on it quite hard to form a good seal around that spark plug hole. Now, a common mistake when people use these, and it gives them a bad readout, is when you crank your engine over to do a compression test, you have to hold the throttle wide open to get a true reading. Now, what a lot of people end up doing is just turning it over with the throttle closed, and obviously it's not letting enough air in to give you that proper compression readout. So people will think that they've got bad compression, when really, if they crack that throttle wide open, they'd probably find it's not too bad. Now, if you haven't got a compression tester at home and you want to see if that's your issue, like, it's not perfect, but a way of telling if it's got any compression is literally ignition on, stick your finger over that spark plug hole and just crank it. And what should happen is, as the piston's coming up and down, it should actually be trying to force your finger off of that spark plug hole. So if you listen, you can actually hear the air escaping from where it's properly forcing against my finger and just popping it off and back on. So just by that, I would say, to be honest, not that bad. Not that bad at all. I've certainly felt worse compression with an engine that still runs perfectly fine. So I don't think that's the issue here. Let's do a proper readout anyway. Let's try it with this thing. Not sure how well it's going to work because the tester's on a really strange angle, but let's try it anyway. So it's telling me I got just shy of 75 psi. Now, like I say, I wouldn't take what this one says for gospel, to be honest, because it is just a cheap NAF one that just gets kicked around in the toolbox. It's just there as a guideline, essentially. So, I mean, if it was giving me that as a true readout on a decent compression tester, I'd be starting to get concerned. It's quite low, to be honest, particularly for for a single cylinder 4-stroke. That's quite low. I'd like to see it around the 100 really, but all bikes are different. So when you're doing a compression test, ideally you want to find out what sort of compression readout that engine should give from factory. I always just go off, if it's around 100, around there, a bit less, a bit more, good enough. I'm only using it as a diagnostic tool at the end of the day, not to see the actual health of the inside of that engine, if that makes sense. It's literally just there as a diagnostic tool. So I use my finger as a gauge. Sounds daft, but it works, and we've used this and it is giving us a compression readout of sorts. So now what are we going to do from here? So I did take the radiator cap off, and I did notice that there is actually no coolant in this bike whatsoever. Let me see if I can get a cable tie in there. So let's just dip this. Okay, so it's about half full. Still pretty bloody low, to be honest. That's the trouble. No one really looks after their bikes. I mean, I don't want to stereotype, shall we say, but it's always the 125 riders neglect more. They just don't look after their things as well. Really need to keep on top of oil and coolant on these things. Otherwise it's only going to end up one way, and that's badly. So, next up, I suppose first things first, I'm going to fill that up with coolant because I can't let it go out like that. That's just bad. So get some coolant in here. We'll stick a new plug in. I might check I'm getting a good spark from this cap and lead as well first, and then yeah, stick it back together and maybe take it out for a run and see what happens. Right, let's get it topped off with coolant. Pretty gross in there. About 250 ml low. Not terrible, but it ain't fantastic. Right, let's do a plug test. Now, if you remember, this is the plug that I took out. It's quite sooty and black. It's not, come on, focus. It's not the worst one I've seen, but it certainly ain't the best. So we're going to test that plug before we change it. See if I can get you in a position where you actually be able to see what I'm looking at. There we go. Right, so we're looking for a nice clean spark, straight from the electrode to the tip, no dancing around. Okay, so it's sparking, but I did notice, don't know how well you'll pick it up on the camera, but the spark wasn't just jumping from the electrode to the tip, it was actually coming out the side of the porcelain in here as well. So, I mean, this isn't brand new, but it's a known good spark plug. I know this one's good. Come out of a perfectly running bike. So we'll pop that one in. I mean, you might see a difference, you might not. I'm not sure how well this camera is going to pick it up, but so always test against a known good spark plug. You can see that spark is much brighter and much more direct. It is straight lining, perfect. Exactly what you want. Jump in from there to there. That's it. Whereas the other plug, it was sort of dancing around, weren't quite that bright blue and white, like nice bright spark. It was a bit duller. And like I say, it was jumping out of the porcelain a little bit as well. So hopefully this will be the solution to all our problems. So we'll stick that in there. Like I say, it's not going to stay, this plug. I will get a brand new one for it. Just don't have any on the shelf at the moment, annoyingly. But just for testing purposes, this will be more than good enough. So if I get this in and it runs, take it out for a spin. I won't bother putting all this back on just for going around the block a few times. We'll take it out for a run. If it stays running good and firing up better with this plug, then we know to order a new one, stick that in, bike back together, out the door. So once again, leave this thing running for a little while, see what happens, I suppose. Does seem to be idling a bit smoother now. hideously loud exhaust. It's actually sounding alright, to be fair. Engine sounds sweet as. Radiator starting to warm up. Still no sign of a misfire. I think it's time for a road test. Ugh, right, it's a bit cold for this. First thing I'm going to do is just go around the block at least once until I'm confident it's going to stay working. What the bloody hell's going on here? Right, well, just done a quick loop, got a little bit further afield now. It certainly ain't winning any races. This thing is fucking slow. But then, what 125 ain't slow these days. Bring back the days of the two-stroke, if you ask me. The rocket ships back in the day. Should really start bringing some better gloves into work for this. At the minute all I use is motocross gloves. Let's be honest, they do bugger all for keeping your hands warm. But they are pretty sick. So, I think we're established this thing ain't misfired anymore. I mean, it's running pretty faultlessly, to be fair. It's bloody slow, but like I say, what 125 ain't slow. When you're used to riding 1000 cc's and above, these things feel bloody proper pathetic. Right. So, I guess I'd say I can put the side panels and that back on. I put a brand new plug in it now, take that used one out. Like I say, that was just there for test purposes. I think I need to suggest to the customer that she really needs to get that spark clutch done, because one day that is going to really leave her up shit creek. It's just, it's one day it's just not going to start full stop.
Well, I've done a video before on a spread clutch on a Aprilia RS3000, an early one. I'll leave a link to that in the description if you want to see that. They all work on the same sort of principle, and it'll be the same sort of thing with this. It's just worn out basically, and that's what that noise was when I was trying to turn it over when we first went to start it. Weirdly, it's not slipped like that again since, but it doesn't sound healthy, so I'd say it certainly needs changing regardless. It is better to play it safe than get stuck without it. You know, all it takes is to be out on a ride out on your own somewhere, like for example Dartmoor, and you break down. If you're somewhere like that, you ain't got phone signal, what are you going to do? It's a long old push to get home from Dartmoor. Anyway, I'm going to leave that episode there. If you like the videos, you want to see more, hit that like button, subscribe, all that usual nonsense. If there's anything in particular that you want to see in a video, please leave suggestions in the comments, because, you know, we want to produce content that everyone likes. So if you want to see something particularly, let us know and we'll see if we can sort that out for you. Anyway, catch you next time.